Hi guys, how's it going? As y'all know, I like a lot of group participation. This last week was my birthday, so it's been fun. I wanted to do something special because it was my birthday, and also I have taught 10 lessons here, which is insane to me. We're gonna do a big review of all 10 lessons, and then we're gonna play a game. I have a huge announcement that I'm so excited about. I am starting to teach private lessons. Yay, I'm very excited. So this is all on the Language Cafe website, starting something new with partner teachers. It's not gonna be just me, it's just me for right now, but it won't be in the future. It is all teachers that have gone through the screening and have done like the free lessons and all that stuff that have certifications or whatever. So they are all very qualified teachers. And we just want to share our languages and have a good time. So if you want to book with me, you're 100% welcome to. If you want to book with me for a private lesson, they are very cheap because I want to make it work with anybody that has any kind of, budget issues, because I've been there and I am there, so I get it. Any questions or specific lesson plans or any of that, I'm so happy to work with you on that. I will still continue doing my free lessons, but those are a little bit more rigid on my lesson plans that I do. But if you do private lessons, it'll be specific, anything that you're really wanting to do, if it's speaking practice, grammar, vocab, whatever. We are doing literally everything that we've talked about from lesson 1 in January to now. So it'll be verb conjugations, particles, demonstratives, I'm reading off my list, adjectives, casual form, te form, likes, counters, and expressing wants. We're starting with mas form conjugations. That is the polite form. Basic verb conjugations for mas form, that is polite form. You use that with strangers, with teachers, with just about everybody but your best friends. And especially like if you get dropped in Japan, if you just go there, use mas form immediately, like make that your default. And then if they become like one of your best friends or you're meeting your best friend, whatever, then we can go to casual form. So we're working on conjugating the ending of the verb. In this example, we have hanasu. That is an u verb. So you have to change the su at the end, the ending u sound. You have to change that to e, which is she in this case, and then add the endings that you see above. So in this example, hanasu turns into hanashimasu, hanashimasen, hanashimashita, and hanashimasen deshita. That is the rule for group 1. The u sound changes to e and add the corresponding ending for whatever you're trying to say. So hanashimasu is I speak, like positive present, and then I do not speak, I spoke, and I did not speak. So present positive, negative, and then past positive and negative. Group 2, these are the ru verb endings. These are a lot easier. You literally just drop the ru and add the ending. In this example, we have miru, to see. So we've dropped the ru sound and just add the ending. So we have mimasu, mimasen, mimashita, and mimasen deshita. So exactly the same format as the other. So you have the present positive, present negative, past positive and negative, blah, 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 all that. But just conjugate it a little bit differently. Taberu is another ru verb. And then we have the irregulars. In Japanese, we really only have 2 irregulars, which is kuru, to come, and suru, to do. In some of these situations, you will see suru tacked onto the end of another verb. So like benkyo suru, to study. You ignore the benkyo part and just conjugate suru like this. So for suru, it'd be shimasu, shimasen, shimashita, shimasen deshita. If it was benkyo suru, you ignore the benkyo part and just conjugate it as suru. So it'd be benkyo shimasu, benkyo shimasen, benkyo shimashita, benkyo shimasen deshita. So you will see a lot of, they're called suru verbs or combination verbs, whatever. It's the same thing. Like another example would be like soji suru, which is to clean. Sentaku suru, which is to do laundry. In all of those cases, you just conjugate the suru part. And then I know I skipped kudu. We're going to do that now. Kudu is just easier. Kimasu, kimasen, kimashita, kimasen deshita. There's nothing really, I don't think there are any conjugation verbs with kudu, at least not until you get up to high intermediate. Yeah, you don't really have to worry about that very much, but suru you will see a lot. There are a couple of weird irregulars with just verbs in general. There aren't a lot of them that you use on a daily basis. So like they have the ending of the ru verbs, but they're conjugated as u. And there are not very many of those at all that you really have to worry about. Kaeru is the big one to return, because in Japanese, you don't say I go home. You say I return home. That's just a lexical difference that we use versus English. You always think of home as like your starting point, so then you have to return there. So the rule with this is if you have aru, oru, or uru, usually they are considered group 1. Like aru, to be for inanimate objects, that would be conjugated as an u verb. So aru would be arimasu, arimasen. You've probably heard that before. And then in this case, this is very irregular. Kaeru, I know it's an eru, but it's still conjugated as a group 1. So in this case, it would be kaerimasu, because you have to change it to the E sound and add the ending. So, kaerimasu, kaerimasen, kaerimashita, kaerimasen deshita. Just keep that in mind when you're looking at things for verbs. But there's another one like okoru, which is to get angry. Since it's an oru, it is conjugated as group 1. So, okorimasu is I'm angry. I just think that's funny. Just like, I'm angry in a polite form just sounds really weird. Wa and ga, we're on particles now. They both mark the subject, but ga is a little different. So wa is a topic marker and ga is a subject marker. So you're emphasizing the subject. It'd be like, if you ever did in-depth English grammar in school, it'd be like direct objects, I guess. Direct and indirect objects. So difference between wa and ga. So there is emphasizing of the topic, which is the overall theme. So here you can see wa as the topic marker is emphasizing watashi at the beginning. So watashi wa gakusei desu. You're not really caring about gakusei as much as you are, okay, who is a gakusei? Think of it that way. Now for ga, it's a little different. So ga suki desu, we're gonna re-review that too. Ga suki desu is a whole phrase. Ga always goes with suki desu. So here, the subject of the sentence is kind of understood. So you don't really have to put watashi wa this, watashi wa that over and over and over. So they're going to know by context that you're talking about yourself. Neko ga suki desu, in this case, is emphasizing, okay, what do you like? You know it's you know it's watashi. So it's like, okay, what do you like then? Cats. So neko ga suki desu, you're emphasizing more what you like as opposed to who likes what, if that makes sense. These 3 are a little harder, but I hope that I'm going to explain it like I did last time, and that kind of helps. So I hope that helps. If not, I can redo it. So we have ni, de, and e. I know it's technically he with an H when you're writing the hiragana, but when you pronounce it, it's e. So location and direction. Use ni when you're talking about where things are or where you're going. For ni, think of it just like ga suki desu. Think of it as ikimasu goes with ni every time. Ni ikimasu is a whole set phrase. Because if you're using the verb to go for ikimasu, you got to use ni. I know how that kind of seems counterproductive when you see example 3 there when it says Nihon e ikimasu. E is not used very much anymore. It still exists, but it's not used as much anymore, especially in like more colloquial Japanese, because I'm assuming the majority of you guys are in your 20s or 30s or maybe even younger. Our generation of millennials / Gen Z, we don't use e anymore. It's kind of like changing slang in English. Other languages evolve like that too. So e is not used as much. I would use e only when you're talking in keigo, which that's a whole other thing that I do not want to deal with. And if you don't know, keigo is very, very formal business Japanese, and it is awful. I hate it so much. I put e there just so you know that it exists, but don't worry about it as much. Ni and de are the main ones. Let's stick with that then. So ni is going somewhere, where you're existing, all that. So gakko ni imasu is I am at school. That means that I am currently existing at school. De is what you will do somewhere. So think of it this way. Well, here, I'll read the example. De is location of an action or event. So, gakkon de benkyou shimasu. I'm studying at school. So think of it this way. That's why I did it, wrote out these examples this way. First, when you're at home or at wherever your starting place is, you have to go somewhere. So you use ni. You have to go to the place. Once you're at the place, then you switch to de. Think of it as a, I guess, timeline of sorts, where you have to go from home, for this example, home to school to doing something at school. You're at home. You're going to school. That's ni, because you're moving. You're going somewhere. De is, okay, I'm already here. I'm going to do an action while I'm already at this place. So that's the difference between ni and de. So ni, you have to move. De, you're doing something. Moving is not considered doing something. Ni ikimasu, you're going here. De is, okay, I have arrived, so I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to study. I'm going to eat. I'm going to dance. I'm going to whatever it is. That's when you have to use de. These next two particles are pretty easy. It's just the direct object marker. We are marking the object of this specific action. When you're eating something, think, okay, what am I eating? I'm eating bread. Okay. In between there, you have to have that particle. So, pan o tabemasu. Same thing here. Ongaku o kikimasu. I'm listening to what? You're listening to music, whatever. No is also easy. This is marking possession. It's like the apostrophe S in English. Watashi no hon desu. Book. Whose book is it? It's mine. Watashi no hon desu. Sensei no namae wa Tanaka desu. Teacher's name is this. Whose name is it? It's the teacher's. That's where you see the no part of it. Demonstratives. We kind of have this in English. It's just, it's not as in-depth, I guess. There is a clear pattern with these in Japanese, which is really great. Kore is this. It's like what you're using or what you have, like what's close to you. So this thing is like kore computer, like my computer, like this computer I meant. That is that thing that's closest to the person that you're having a conversation with. Kore is close to you. Sore is close to the listener, as we say. Are is that thing over there. It's far away from both of you. So you're like pointing over, okay, are, whatever, like that thing over there. And then dore is which. So the pattern that you can see is ko, so, and do. It's the same for all three of these categories. Same thing here. Koko is here. Soko is there. Asoko is all the way over there. You're pointing somewhere. And doko is where. Think of ko, close to you. So, close to the listener. Over there. All the way over there. That's all I said. That's what I always say. It's just like, is all the way over there. I don't know. It's hokey, but whatever. And then do is you're asking a question. And then the next one is you're talking about like before a noun. So the difference between kore and kono is like kore, sore, all of those are very general, so you can still use them regardless. But kono is you're talking about this thing basically that you're holding is kind of how I think of it. You can really use either. It just kind of depends on the context. There's not really a set pattern for those, though. It's a matter of like what sounds the most natural. It's very weird. So like kore and kono, both of those are correct if you're using like for computer, like that I'm using right now. So like Kore computer, kono computer. When you're talking to your friend, like think of like your friend is here and you have your computer, whatever. If you're saying kono computer, it's like, okay, I'm going to use this for something. There's more about the computer that's coming in this sentence. For kore, it's more like, oh, I want this thing here. I want this computer. Kore computer ga hoshii desu. Like something like that. It's about what sounds the most natural. I know that that's not very clear, but that's the best way that I can describe it because they're used so interchangeably. And it's just a matter of like what comes out the most natural. So I know that's not very clear, but you can't really go wrong with either. Moving on to adjectives. These are a lot more clear. We have two different kinds of adjectives. We've got I-adjectives and na-adjectives. We're starting with the I because those, I would say I is the most commonly used, especially in beginners, because they're a lot simpler in my opinion. Like, this is fun, this is delicious, whatever, as opposed to like Nigiaka is more like talking about a town, saying it's lively, it's full of energy, it's really crowded, whatever. It just seems deeper and in depth with not adjectives as opposed to I. That's my opinion in it. Okay, so for I adjectives, tanoshii is fun. We're going to use that as the example. Tanoshii desu, you just use the infinitive dictionary form and just add desu on the end. Or if you're speaking casually, you don't have to add desu. So that's why in this chart you don't see any desu in there, because these are just the endings and you just need to gauge whether it's casual or formal to add it or not. Tanoshii is just the I ending for it is fun. And then going to past, tanoshikatta. You drop the I and add katta at the end. Negative, there is a pattern with negative too. For negative, automatically add kunai. But if it's past, do the same thing that you did with the positive past and drop the I at the end and add katta. What helps my brain is to say, okay, first, is it positive or negative? If it's positive, just have the I. If it's negative, add kunai. Then ask, okay, is it past or present? If it's positive past, you already just have the I and you can just drop the katta. If it is negative past, you have the I at the end of nai, and then you add katta at the end. So it's just a matter of changing it to positive or negative first, because it's the same pattern here in the past tense, regardless of changing the ending I, whether it's just I or nai, to katta at the end. That's what helps my brain. I don't know about you, but that could help. Then let's do na. Na is pretty easy. There are a lot of options that you can do for the negative form, and we can go through all of that and see like what's used the most and whatever. Shizuka is quiet. As just the adjective and adding des there, you don't have to add na. Normally, if you can see here at the bottom of everything, like right here that I'm circling, kare wa shizuka na hito desu. If you're using the adjective before a noun, and it's a na adjective, you have to add na in between the adjective and the noun. Shizuka na hito. You don't have to do any of that with I. Everything comes with an I in I adjectives. So here with tanoshi, everything comes with the I in all of these forms. So like tanoshi, oishi, like all of those comes with the I. That kind of acts as the, I guess, combination piece between the adjective and the noun. So like if you say oishi tabemono, delicious food. Oishi, it has the I in there that kind of acts as that. So oishi tabemono, like that. But here you actually have to add the na at the end. Something that will help is most of the time, there are a couple exceptions. Most of the time, if it ends in I, it's already an I adjective. If it ends in something else, whatever it is, it's a na adjective. Let's go through this. Shizuka desu. just use the infinitive and add this, or don't add this. Shizuka deshita. Here, you're basically conjugating the ending of des to deshita instead of the actual adjective itself, which is easy. We like that. Then here, you still have, in both of these cases for negatives, you still have the original adjective here. You're just adding endings. You don't have to do like, kunai or whatever with the e's, with the e adjectives. So you're changing it to Shizuka janai desu. Janai is a whole set phrase itself too that is negative. You add that with na-adjectives and like, there are a few other situations, but this is the most common. So then here, for past, Shizuka janai, you basically turned it into an e adjective itself because you have the nai at the end. It's past, so you just add kata like you did before. And again, I have the paragraph form and the chart form. It just depends on how you learn and what's helpful. Use what you got. So negative forms is a little weird. There are probably more different ways to say this. I just want you to be aware that if you hear like saying it is not quiet, if you hear it said shizuka dewa arimasen or ja arimasen or whatever dewa nai, all of those, they're still negative. Janai is definitely the more commonly used one, but you could still see this in your reading or whatever. Like when you're doing like Genki practice or whatever you use for your textbook, it is still used, but in speaking especially, janai is the more commonly used one. These are the examples that I said before. So kare wa shizuka na hito, you add the na in between. And then this is a hiragana version. This is a little different. Kare wa shizuka janai hito. So here, this right here for shizuka na is just the infinitive form. When you have janai in here, you've got the e as your connector. So you don't have to put na. Janai na hito. That doesn't work. Think of it this way. If you don't have an e, you have to have na. Let me say that again. If you don't have e at the end as a connector here to hito, which is the noun, you have to add na in there. I hope that was clear and helpful. This is casual form. Casual form is a lot. In my opinion, it's easy, but the past form is important. Kau is to buy. That's the example we're using. Just for positive past, I buy, whatever. You just use the infinitive. It's just kau. That's easy. Then here, you have to change the ending to an ah sound and add nai for the present negative form. Ah sound and add nai in there. So ka wa nai. You put wa here because in the hiragana chart, it's just ah, and that doesn't work for these. It would be ka nai. That's the ka nai. No. So we have to add the wa in there just for the a sound. If it's a different verb like hanasu, it'd just be hanasa nai. It'd just be the sa. That's easy. That's the only exception when it comes to that hiragana stuff. If you just have you have to have the wa in there because that just sounds weird, and phonetically you can't really have, two vowels right next to each other in Japanese. That's just from the linguistic side of it. And then the past form, we have a chart for that. That'll be easier. For kau, it's katta with a small tsu in there. So we have to have a little jump. And then nakatta, this is similar to what we did earlier with the adjectives, where you have wanai, and you take the e and change it to katta for the past. So ka wa nakatta. Now, with past affirmative, there's a chart that you follow for this. And this is very important to remember because there's a pattern with this, and then the same pattern is for te form. Screenshot this. I have a te form chart in there that you can also screenshot, but if you've never done past, casual, and or te form, this is very important. Make sure it is ingrained in your brain. That, if you don't take anything else from this lesson, think about this chart and the other chart that I've got for te form. Think about these endings, get that in your head, whatever, because once you start getting higher up in your Japanese, it will build on this. Most of the time, those are the main ones that will build. So it will be past casual with ta at the end, or te form with te at the end when you're adding more grammar points. It will just start building and building, which I love about Japanese because it makes it easier. I'm like, oh, okay, you just start with past casual and then add this extra ending for this meaning. If you don't have this down and memorized, you will struggle. If you don't take anything else from today, do this. Make that your homework for this week. I'm just going to read these off to help with my auditory learners, but it's all here and in the te form ending. This is all for group 1 on this chart. If your group 1 verb, your u verb ends in u, su, or ru, you drop the ending and add ta with the small su in there. When I say ru, that is those deceptive verbs that are ru, but you conjugate them as u group 1 verbs, like kaeru. For here, it would be kaeta. You drop the ru and add the ending, kaeta, with the little jump. If it ends in mu, bu, or nu, it's nda. So here, nonda, to say drank. All of these are past tense. Also, I did not realize that I did this, but English is weird. If your English is not your first language, you're going to be like, what? All of these are irregular English verbs, which is so weird. Bought, drank, wrote, swam, spoke, as opposed to, the ed ending. Next, if it ends in ku, it's ita. Kaku is kaita. Next is gu, which you also don't see as much, but this is the main example that you see, is ida. Oyogu, oyoida. And then su, this is not the irregular form. Well, kind of it is. For su endings, you add shita at the end. Hanasu, hanashita. Group 2. Group 2 is so easy. I love group 2 for basically everything. Infinitive form, you just use at the beginning, miru, and then add nai, add ta, and add nakata, depending on the form. Miru, minai, mita, minakata. Easy. Love that. Nothing crazy, no crazy chart, no nothing. It's beautiful. And then group 3. Group 3 is fairly easy. There's only a couple changes. So suru is just the infinitive form of suru. And then just like we had for mas form, shimas, it changes to shinai, just with that ending. So shinai. Past tense is shita. And then negative past, shinakata. Suru is pretty easy. Kuru. There's a little change in the pronunciation. The kanji is the same. That's why I put it in there. Kanji is the same. You just pronounce it a little differently. Don't know why. It's just weird. So for kuru, it's just the infinitive form of kuru. Negative is konai. It's konai. It's just pronounced differently. It's the exact same in the kanji, though. You write it the same. It's just konai when you pronounce it, just for the negative forms. Positive past is kita, and the negative past is ko nakata. Again, kanji is the same. You just pronounce it differently. I have no idea why. It's just weird. And then here, iku normally is not an irregular, but in a couple cases, it can be. Not just this. It's also irregular in te form. Don't know why. Just decided to do something different. I think it's because of the pronunciation. Iku is just iku for the positive form. It's just the infinitive. Same thing for both negative forms. It's ikanai, ikanakata. You change it to the a form and at the ending. The only irregular part is positive past. You change it to ita instead of, it would be iita. I think that's why, because it's 2 e's in that. So you just change it to the small 2 instead. So it's ita with a little jump. So just remember that part. That's the only real difference here. Te form, so similar to what we just talked about with plain dictionary form. Basically the same thing as the plain dictionary form. except instead of all of the tas everywhere, you just change it to te. That's literally all. That's literally it. It's so easy. So when you have this past affirmative grid, all of this applies. You just change it to te instead of ta. That's all. That's all it is. It's amazing. So for kau, the example for katta, which is bought in past tense, it's just katte, which is te form. Easy. Nonda, nonde. Kaita, kaite. Oyoda, oyode. Hanashita, hanashite. That's literally it. It's amazing, and I love it. This chart is so helpful, and I love it, because it still has the groups that we talked about. So there is, see at the bottom, it's the utsu and root that's there, and then it goes up to mu, bu, nu, and then ku, gu, and su. All of that. So easy, and it's amazing, and I love it. If you never dealt with te form before, that's completely fine. This is what we use for te form. Connect actions, like I ate and watched TV. Gohan o tabete, terebi o mimashita. We use that because it just makes our sentences longer and more comfortable, and like connecting actions kind of shows, like, you know, a timeline of what we did. It just makes you sound a lot more natural instead of saying I ate dinner, I watched TV. It's so choppy. It's not wrong, especially when you're a beginner, but it's just so choppy, and it doesn't sound like, it sounds like you're just reading off of a Google Translate script or whatever. So it's a lot less natural. If somebody asks you, what did you do? Like, what did you do last night? I ate dinner. I watched TV. I went to sleep. I took a shower. Like, all of that stuff is just too choppy. So here you can say, Gohan o tabete, terebi o mimashita. Like, I ate and I watched TV and whatever. Like, it's just, it makes more sense. It's more natural. It's more comfortable, and people can follow it a lot better. And they won't get as bored, because if you're just saying, watashi wa, I did this, watashi wa, no. Especially in these cases where you connect the actions, you can always drop the subject, because they know, like, if you're asking, like, what did you do last night? Well, you don't have to say, like, well, watashi wa, like, I did this. Like, they know you did it because they asked you about it. So it's all very assumed in these cases. So I highlighted those two for ongoing actions too, because those are the two most used, especially in beginner. Ongoing actions of teiru or teimasu, whichever, whether it be positive or casual. I am studying Japanese, which is applicable for all of you, which is great. Nihongo o benkyou shite imasu, or benkyou shiteiru, whichever, if it's positive, or not positive, polite or casual. And then the rest are just kind of overviews of, you know, polite requests, te kudasai, asking for permission, te mo ii desu ka, prohibition, te wa ikemasen, and resulting state or status is also teiru. You don't use that nearly as much, but it's like, it's something that is ongoing, but it's not like it's an ongoing action. It's like, it's just my ongoing status that I am right now. Likes, dislikes, good at, bad at, and want. All of these have ga. Think of them as set phrases instead of, okay, what particle do I use with ski? No, it's always ga. Every single time, it will be ga. Ga ski desu, ga kirai desu, ga jouzu desu, ga heta desu, and ga hoshi desu. All of those, you have to use ga with it. I'm not really going to go into the in-depth grammar breakdowns of these. Overview of counters. That's second to last. General items, people, flat things, long things, and small animals. Su, nin, mai, hon, and hiki. All of that. So I wanted to just include these just if you have them, they're just all in one place. We're not going to go over all of them. I included all of the counters because I know people were struggling about that. I also have practice quizzes for this and for te form. If those are something that you're interested in, they're in the Japanese table pinned. I have a whole document specifically for my past lessons and quizzes and all that stuff. It's all very organized because I'm very type A, so everything needs to be pretty in one place. So I can resend that to you guys if you need it. General items counter. If you can't remember any of the other counters, use this one, and they will semi-understand what you mean. They'll be like, oh, okay, you're a foreigner. Got it. Like, that's fine. That's fine. Especially when you're first starting, they'll be like, okay, we understand it. But some nice people will be like, okay, if you Like some people will actually correct you and be like, okay, but they're not jerks about it, Just be like, okay, if you want to sound more natural, you should use nin or mai for this or whatever. I've met some really nice people when I screw up my Japanese and they're just like, actually. I'm like, oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm not good at this. I get anxious talking to people. Nin is for people. There are patterns in all of these. I'm not going to go over all of them, but there are patterns in all of these that you got to remember. So nin in here, 1 and 2 are different, and then 3 is the same all the way up. Mai, there's no weird pattern. You just use normal numbers and go with it. Ichimai, nimai, sanmai, yomai, all of that. Hon and hiki, like both of these, are a little weird because they have irregular pronunciations in 1, 3, 6, 8, and 10. It's the whole thing. And again, if you pronounce it wrong, they'll still understand what you're saying. But, we always want to be as bad, like the best that we can be, Irregular pronunciation, you have ton for everything but 3, essentially. Instead of ihon, it's ippon, or oppon, happon, juppon, all of that. 3 is bon with a B. Sanbon. Same thing with hiki. Ippiki, roppiki, happiki, jupiki. All of that with a P. And then 3 is sanpiki. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. They'd be doing crazy stuff. I think it's tied into, there was a whole other new or old way of counting that was taken from Chinese, and they're just like, okay, we'll adapt it into ours, but it doesn't fully work. I'm like, great. That just makes it more work for us. Those are in there, just remember that. Last thing before we get to the fun part. This is verb stems. They're used in other cases, but we talked about this last lesson 2 weeks ago in Thai form, expressing what you want. Thai form uses the verb stem instead of conjugating from the infinitive and whatever. I prefer to start from mas form and work forward from there. Tabe mas. You just have the mas form, drop the mas form, and it's just tabe. That's the stem. That's all it is. Whatever the mas form is, drop the mas part, and that's your stem. And then in the Thai form, which is asking or saying what you want, add Thai at the end. So tabe mas goes to tabe and goes to tabe Thai, means I want to eat. Nomi mas, drop the mas, goes to nomi, and then add Thai, nomi Thai, I want to drink. Same thing all the way down. It's fairly simple in that. Thai acts like an I-adjective, so you don't really have to learn a whole new conjugation for this. Thai, takunai, takatta, and then takunakatta. So in this example, I used ikitai, I want to go. So your sentence can be Nihon ni ikitai, I want to go to Japan. Want to go, ikitai. Don't want to go, ikitakunai. Wanted to go, past tense, ikitakatta. And did not want to go, negative past tense. Ikitakunakatta. It's a whole thing. Just practice pronouncing it, because sometimes my brain is like, even still, I'm just like, what is this? Ikitakunakatta. It's a whole thing. That's your Thai form conjugation. And last thing, we have saying that you want nouns. I said this earlier, but we're going to say it again. Ga hoshi desu, that is a set phrase. Keep the ga with it. Do not change that particle. It is the exact same every time. Whatever the noun is, add ga hoshi desu. I want money, because always. Okane ga hoshi desu. And then I want a car. Kuruma ga hoshi desu. This is used for yourself and not for other people. We're doing a Kahoot. If any of you guys are American, that sounds like your childhood. That is me. Because we're doing a Kahoot, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Kahoot is it's a review game. It is a quiz game type thing. It is so fun. So the idea of the game is to get the right answers, of course, and get them as fast as possible. You get points for correct answers and being as, quick. Let's go, y'all. It's gonna be fun. How do you conjugate miru in the polite positive form? get points for as soon as you answer. Answer as fast as you can. Go, 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 go. You got 3 seconds. Okay. All right. We pretty split. That's okay. Mimas is the correct answer. Miru is a root verb. You just drop the ru and add mas at the end of it. Mind you, the questions will have some kanji in there, but the answers will not. So that's okay. Okay, yes, mimas is the correct answer there. Let's go next question, number 2. Ooh, Kyle is killing y'all. Come on. Let's do it. How do you conjugate hanasu in negative past tense? Negative past. Polite. Negative past. Start with that mas form. Hanasu, hanashimasu. Make it negative and make it past. All right. Ooh, only one got that right. Okay. Let's see. So, hanashimasen is negative. Hanashimasen, that's what a couple of y'all answered. That is negative, but is not past tense. So you have to add the deshita at the end of that. All right, there we go. Next question. What does shimas mean? Nice. All right, pretty good, pretty good. Yes, shimas is the conjugated form of suru, which is to do. To go is iku, to eat taberu, and to sleep is neru. Okay, I see Tina moving up, period. All right. Let's keep going. Which particle marks the topic of the sentence? Topic. Beautiful. I love to see that. Oh, that's amazing. Wa is the topic. Awesome. Ni is direction. De is action. And O is object. Yes, I love that. It's beautiful. Ooh, Muna's on a streak. Come on, y'all. Number 5. Fill in the particle here. Gakko blank. Ikimasu. Ikimasu. Remember what I said about ikimasu? We got set phrases here. Come on. Ooh, okay. Now, I can understand why you said ga, because that is another thing that has a lot of set phrases. But ikimasu is to go. You are moving, so you have to use ni. O is an object, ga is a subject, and wa is a topic. So you are moving with ikimasu, so you got to use ni. Ooh, okay. Let's keep it going. Was the dictionary or plain form of nomimasu to drink? Nomimasu. We are working backwards from mas form. Ooh, okay. So, if we're working backwards from mas form, we're dropping the mas. And you gotta change that E to an oo sound because you're going backwards. So, nomu is to drink. Nomu is the correct answer. Some said nomiru. I have no earthly idea what that is. I just started making crap up. So sorry, but nope. And nonda is the past form of nomu. And nome, that doesn't exist. I also made that up too. I just started throwing stuff in places just to throw y'all off. So, nomu is the correct answer. Okay. Come on, Tina, you killing it. Let's go. What does kore mean? Kore. Think of that pattern that we talked about. Ko, so, a, and do. What is ko? Re, kore. Oh. Put the same answer twice. Whoops, it's okay. Okay. Nice job, this near me. We're talking about near the speaker, which is you. So ko is near you. That near the other person is sore. That over there is are. I don't remember why I put two of the same, but you know, just to trick y'all. But yeah, nice job, nice job. Ooh, there we go. We got someone else moving up. Let's go. Which one is an e-adjective? Which is an e-adjective? There's a little trick in there too. There are a couple of adjectives that look like e-adjectives, but they're actually not. Think of the one that we talked about the most. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Tanoshi is an e-adjective. Kirei is the one that is deceptive. You have to use not with it. Kirei na, that is a not adjective. Shizuka is the one that we went over earlier today with the na adjectives. That is a not, and so is hita. That is also na. Well done. Ooh, I love seeing those scores go up. Love it. What is the negative form of oishi, which is delicious? First think, what kind of adjective is it? Is it an e or is it a na? And when you do that, what do you get? Okay, nice. Oishikunai. Okay. So blue, oishiku nakata, is negative past tense. And oishinai and oikunai, both of those are not a thing. I just made those up to make sure you guys are watching. So oishikunai is the right answer. Okay, there we go. Tucker's moving up. What type of adjective is Shizuka? We just talked about it. We just talked about it. Okay, all right. Almost had it, almost had it. Shizuka is a not adjective. That was our big example, and we talked about it a couple questions ago. Nice. Past casual form, okay. Nihon go no hon oh blank. I read a Japanese book. We're conjugating yomu into past casual form. Think of that giant chart of weird endings. Okay, all right. Nice. We had a few people that are like, huh? And that's okay. Nice job. What is the te form of kau? To buy. What is the te form? Again, think of that giant chart. Oh, Ooh, we're pretty split. Okay. The correct answer is katte. The blue, katta, that is the past casual form. Red and yellow don't exist. Those are not things. I made them up. So, katte is te form, katta is past casual form. Okay. What is the te form of tabemas? Tabemas, to eat. Think of what that infinitive form is, and then change that ending to match the te form. All right, not bad, not bad. Okay. Tabete, that is a root verb. Taberu, the blue, is just the infinitive form. You still have to change it to te form. So tabete is the right answer. Tabeta, that is past casual form. That is casual form. So tabete is the right answer. Nice. All right, 14 to 15. We got two more questions. Te form of shimas. Shimas is a conjugated mas form. How we gonna change it? Ooh, we split again. Okay. Let's see. So, shimas, that is the conjugated form of suru, which is to do. That's an irregular. So, suru, the blue, shita, that is past casual. Teru, that's a whole other grammar point that we have not covered. I was about to say, I made that up. I'm like, actually, no, that's a thing. And sute, that I made up. Well, actually, sute, that's the te form of to smoke, actually. Su, te form of to smoke. Sute, yeah. So yeah, shite, that is the right answer. Right? We're on that last question. Let's go. What does tabetai mean? We know taberu as to eat. Tabetai, what does that mean? Ooh, there we go. That's a lot better. I like it. 8 is tabeta. Tai is want to do.